I wouldn't put it past this government that a cosmic Watergate has been underway for the last, 25 years. And at the same time, I don't think it's, I think as we're growing up, or from the government's point of view, I think we've been adults for hundreds of years, but from the government's point of view, we're still growing up, and eventually they might want to tell us something about what they've discovered over the decades. There is a rumor that was in U.S. News and World Report a number of months ago that Jimmy Carter might make some unsettling disclosures about the UFO phenomena sometime in December. It's perfect timing. I opened my movie in December, so it's perfect timing.
President Carter reported a UFO sighting twice.
Twice, yeah.
Has he seen the picture?
Last Saturday.
What do you think?
He has. We haven't heard the direct feedback. We hear he liked it quite a bit, and we haven't really heard directly from the president.
I was gathered in a schoolyard with about 20 other men, and we saw a bright light appear in the distant western skies, and it got closer and closer, and when it was just above the treetops, it changed color, and then it stayed there for a while, and then it disappeared into the distance. And none of us could ever imagine what it was, and I still don't know what it was.
In 76, you said you'd try and release all information to the public and to scientists about other UFO sightings.
Yes.
Do you think you achieved that?
I'm not sure, but we did release a lot of the information, but I don't know how much was not released.
In view of the fact that your own president has cited it, reported it, why is it that so many responsible people accuse the U.S. government of covering up UFO sightings? And why would the forces or the government try to do that?
Well, it's very popular today because of Watergate to blame the government for anything that we think we should know about that we don't know about. Dr. Hynek has referred to UFOs in America as a cosmic Watergate. There are several reasons why the government could be, withholding information beyond the Freedom of Information Act. The Robertson panel, that convened in the early 50s, decided that UFOs were not a threat to our national security, but could be a threat to our national security by clogging all the proper channels of communication, creating rumors. During the Cold War, when we were already frightened of the intercontinental ballistic missiles arriving in 18 and a half minutes, and the government was afraid that too many UFO reports could be misleading, could mislead our own facilities, our own NORAD facilities, into thinking that what looked like a non-specific, what looked like an uncorrelated target could be, in fact, an incoming missile. And they didn't want to confuse UFOs with a threat from communist Russia.
I was there.
You were there? Okay, so is it... The story that I heard was that when Reagan saw it, he started talking about how close to reality it was, and he was quickly ushered out of the room. Is that true?
No, he wasn't ushered out of the room. He was the President of the United States. Nobody could usher Ronald Reagan out of the room. It was in the White House screening room.
Yeah.
And Reagan got up to thank me for bringing the film to show to show the President, the First Lady, and all of their guests, which included Sandra Day O'Connor in her first week as a justice of the Supreme Court, and it included some astronauts. I believe I think Neil Armstrong was there. I'm not 100% certain. But it was an amazing evening, and he just stood up and he looked around the room almost like he was doing a head count, and he said, "I want to thank you for bringing E.T. to the White House. We really enjoyed your movie." And then he looked around the room and he said, "And there are a number of people in this room who know that everything on that screen is absolutely true." And he said it without smiling. But he said that, and everybody laughed. By the way, the whole room laughed because he presented it like a joke, but he wasn't smiling as he said it.
Yeah.
The room did laugh, and then later on, I'll never forget my conversation with the president. He pulled me aside. He said, and I can't do Reagan, but I wish I could do that breathy, wonderful voice of his.
Yeah.
And Nancy Reagan was standing right next to him, and the president said to me, I only have one criticism about your movie. And I said, what's that? He said, how long were the end credits? And I said, I don't know, maybe 3.5 minutes. He said, in my day when I was an actor, our end credits were maybe 15 seconds long. He said, why don't you let everybody get a credit, 3.5, 4 minutes, that's fine, but only show that inside the industry. But throughout the rest of the country, reduce your credits to 15 seconds at the end. And Nancy Reagan turned to him and said, "Oh, Ronnie, they can't do that. You know that." And he went, "Oh, yes, I suppose."
That's awesome.
That was the extent of my conversation about that. That was the only criticism. He felt the end credits were too long.
But I've often wondered, what if all of us in the world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet? Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?